So in this image that was given to Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, in a dream form, the head of gold represented the kingdom of Babylon, and truly that was the great Western kingdom that was the first one represented, because it was the first one that took Judea into captivity. And then after that, you've got the next kingdom, and it's the next world empire. And if you're a student of world civilization, you know that that is the kingdom of Persia, the Medes and the Persians, to be more specific. But the Persian side was stronger. So you got the chest and arms of silver. That represents Medo-Persia. And we know that the Persians were conquered famously by the incredible Alexander the Great in a very short time. So you got the belly and thighs of bronze representing the Greek Macedonian Empire. And we know, as mentioned earlier, that Greece was conquered by Rome. And many times it's called the Iron Monarchy of Rome. And when Rome fell, it was interesting. Yes, it fell in 476 AD. Romulus Augustus was the last official Roman emperor. And so, but when Rome fell, it was actually divided. All the different kingdoms in the Roman Empire then became autonomous kingdoms. They became independent. Of course, wars broke out, but the Franks, the ancient French, were a big one. You had the Ostrogoths that took over Italy. You had the Burgundians that eventually migrated and became Switzerland. And then you had the Vandals that settled in North Africa. You had the Alemanni, the ones who were part of the Germanic. Well, they were all Germanic tribes, but became Germany. And the Anglo-Saxons that formed Great Britain, as it is known today. So you had all these little kingdoms that became countries and formed modern Europe. And that is the feat of iron and clay. But notice it says, in the feat of iron and clay, there will be the strength of the iron, right? Some of those kingdoms are strong. Germany, France, England, very strong. Some of the other kingdoms, Albania, Poland, not quite as strong. So you've got that mixture, and it says that they will not ever unite again, even though they'll try through intermarriage. And we know that throughout Europe, intermarriage has been the name of the game to try and solve political disputes, but it never worked. The Princess of Spain was married to the King of England. It didn't work out. You've got all these intermarriages between the leaders of these different nations. In fact, Queen Victoria was known as the grandmother of Europe. When World War I broke out, if you look at the different leaders, they were all cousins. It was really a war between cousins. So the prophecy held true in that they would try to intermarry, mingle their seed with one another, but it would not stand. The prophecy was also true that the feet of iron and clay would be partly strong and partly broken. They would have elements of the Roman Empire in it still, but it would not be like the Roman Empire. You had also true that the legs of iron, the Iron Monarchy of Rome, took over Greece. And it's interesting, the Romans used a lot of iron in their armor. And the Greeks, which was largely an agricultural society, had a lot of bronze-tipped plows. They were a bronze society. And going back up the image, it is historically proven that they conquered the kingdom previous to them, the chest and arms of silver, which is Medo-Persia. And we all know that Medo-Persia took over Babylon, which is represented by the head of gold. So God was right in this prophecy that once Medo-Persia would conquer Babylon, twice that Greece would conquer Medo-Persia, 3 times that the Roman Empire would conquer Greece, and 4 times that Rome would be divided. Didn't say conquered, said divided. 5 times that it would be partly strong and partly broken. 6 times that they would intermarry, but it would not cling together. And also think of all the different world leaders that have tried to unite Europe and failed. You have Hitler, Mussolini, the Kaiser. You have Napoleon. You have you have many efforts to unite Europe and even the European Union, and I'm not sure how long that's going to work out. You've got these many efforts to unite the empire, and it has not worked out because the prophecy, I think, if it's right 6 times in a row, we need to be confident that the next event is going to be right, because the next event is that a rock is going to hit the image and shatter it, and the kingdoms of this world will be destroyed. And the rock always represents God. It always represents Jesus. That rock represents Jesus' second coming, when the kingdoms of this world will be destroyed. So what kingdom are you choosing to be a part of today? Are you choosing to be part of Christ's kingdom today? Are you choosing love over hate? Are you allowing Jesus into your life? Because that rock is about to hit the image. And soon there will be no more of these countries. And I love my country. I love the United States of America, but it will not endure forever. The prophecy said it wouldn't. Another factor I want you to consider is that the head of gold, okay, what was their religious practice? You had the Chaldeans, the holders of these ancient mysteries that go back to the flood era, to the grandson of Noah, Arphaxad. And they took their religious knowledge and combined it into the kingdom of Medo-Persia, the one that conquered Babylon. They combined it with the Magi's wisdom and in the practice of Mithraism, and that continued on through Greece. And a lot of those gods got Greek names, and there was syncretism with the Greek culture and the Greek gods. And where did Rome get its religion from? It got it from Pergamos. It got emperor worship from Pergamos. It got the goddess Roma from Pergamos. And a lot of the Roman gods just were Greek gods renamed in Latin. And then what do we have at the feet? We've got the feet of iron and clay, representing the divisions of Rome. And I want you to look and notice, what is the symbol that is used for the European Union? Have you ever looked at it? It's the Tower of Babylon. So from head to toe, that image represents Babylon. Babylon is a symbol for the kingdoms of this world that are naturally opposed to God. And so I want you to take a look, and it's good to be patriotic for your nation. And I really like it when people are patriotic about their nation. I love it when I meet a Mexican person and they love Mexico, or a Spanish person and they love Spain, or a Swiss person and they just love Switzerland, or the French person who thinks that France is the greatest country in the world. I might disagree, or a Canadian that's like, yeah, Canada, it's nothing like Canada, so everybody thinks their nation is the best, and I think that's fine. But you need to remember that there is a kingdom that is far more glorious and that is going to last for eternity. And Jesus is inviting you to be a part of that today. Today, my friend, accept Jesus as your Savior and get your name enrolled in the books in heaven. May you be there when the first census is taken. All you got to say, Jesus, is please take me where I'm at. Don't worry about the millions of questions you have. I know you've got them. I got so many questions about God and religion that he hasn't answered, but I'm not going to let that get me hung up. I know that Jesus' teachings are true. I know that his system of philosophy is the purest one in the world. And I know that these prophecies could not be faked. So I don't know about you, but as for me and my house, I'm going to choose Jesus. I got 1,001 problems and twice as many questions. But I trust that he's a just God, and he's going to give the answers and the solutions and the relief in his own time. So what does a good teacher do? Do they just give a lesson once and then say, okay, test tomorrow or test today? No, they repeat it. And that's what God does in prophecy. He works on the principle of repeat and enlarge. And remember, we're doing this quick look at Daniel to help us understand better the prophecy that we're really studying, which is the 7 churches, specifically Pergamos, the 3rd church. And so in Daniel chapter 7, now Daniel gets a dream. Many years later, he's much older. He gets a dream at night, and he doesn't understand it. And he has the angel Gabriel come and explain it to him. So if you look in Daniel chapter 7, you see a magnificent prophecy. The first thing you see is this animal, or a beast in the King James. It's a lion with eagle's wings. Now, it should come as no surprise that represents Babylon. Here we're going to see the same prophecy from Daniel 2 repeated, only with more details. Now, the winged lion was a symbol for Babylon. I was actually in Turkey once, and they had a part of the Ishtar Gate. That's the gate where the Babylonian kings would ride triumphantly after a victorious conquest. And all along that wall were winged lions. And there was a sign that said, "Do not touch." But don't tell anybody this. Don't tell the Turkish people there in Istanbul that run the museum. But it said, "Do not touch." But I had to touch it. I had to, give it a little touch. Because, I was thinking, hey, maybe Daniel leaned against that wall. Maybe he took a nap against it. Maybe he sat there and ate a falafel by that wall. I want to at least touch it. Okay, you can say I'm superstitious or weird for that. But, when else are you going to get the opportunity to touch a, 2,600-year-old wall? So in Daniel's dream, the first thing he sees is this winged lion, this beast. And the angel Gabriel explains to him, he says, the beasts that you see are kingdoms. So these are kingdoms again, just like in Daniel chapter 2. So you've got the winged lion. It corresponds perfectly with the head of gold in Nebuchadnezzar's dream in Daniel chapter 2. Then you have another beast come on the scene. And it's a bear that's hunched over on one side, okay? And he's got 3 ribs in his mouth. And what is that? Well, it's the next kingdom that conquered Babylon. It's the Medes and the Persians. Why is it humped over on one side? Well, one side was stronger. Which side was that? Persia. And it says and then it gives the detail. It says the stronger one will come up last. So the next animal or beast that Daniel sees in his dream is this leopard with 4 heads. Now, how weird is that? And he also has 4 wings of a fowl. Wings in the Bible denote speed, and a leopard, we're using a little bit of private interpretation here, but we know leopards are fast. So it's very interesting that this very fast animal, this fast kingdom, would come up after the Medo-Persian kingdom. We know that Alexander the Great conquered the then known world in record time. In fact, he would have kept going on into India, but his soldiers were like, enough. We've conquered the entire Medo-Persian realm. Isn't that enough? Can we stop now? And Alexander said, all right. But then he went and had a party in Babylon, and he got really drunk, and he either died of alcohol poisoning or malaria, or somebody poisoned him. And on his deathbed, they said, who do we give the kingdom to? And he said, to the strongest. Now, he did have a wife that was pregnant with child. He was later killed as an adolescent. But the kingdom went mainly to his 4 generals, Ptolemy, Seleucus, Cassander, and Lysicamus. And they are the 4 main divisions of Greece. That's why you have the 4 heads on the leopard. The head represents a different kingdom. So it's incredible, the details in these prophecies. And the leopard corresponds with the belly and thighs of brass in Nebuchadnezzar's dream. These prophecies are a repeat and enlarge model.